Welcome to NBA Assist. I'm your host, Ronald Cabang from WagerTalk.com, also known as UCapper Sports on all social media platforms. This show has missed a couple days just because of Thanksgiving and some scheduling things, but we're back. And, if you guys haven't caught this show yet, this is about assisting you guys with actionable info to make informed sports betting decisions in the NBA. In each episode, I'll go through each game on the day slate, and today we have 9 games on the board. Before we get started, though, do me a favor, hit the like and subscribe button, the notification button as well, so you don't miss future episodes of NBA Assist or any of the other amazing shows we have on the Wager Talk TV YouTube channel. Also, I have to do a couple quick promos here. If you haven't utilized the NBA Assist exclusive promo yet, promo code ASSIST50 gets you 50% off a 3 or 7 day all access pass. The other promo we got going on is my birthday special. You can get a 7-day NBA and college basketball pass for just $69. Currently number one in the NBA and college basketball combined in the last 3 weeks, hitting 62% of my plays for 37 units since November 11th. I also have a 5% play up right now, a 5% NBA play up right now. No one at Wager Talk has had a better hit rate on 5% spreads than me since the beginning of 2022. That's almost 2 years now. I've hit over 73% of these plays, and I'm hoping to continue the streak tonight. We did just hit one of these on $2 Tuesday, so if you guys cashed with me on Tuesday, it was pretty sweat-free. Hopefully that's another one tonight. All right, so let's get into these games here. First one up, we have the Blazers and the Cavs. The Cavs, 11.5-point home favorites here. The total's at 218.5. Blazers 5-12 on the season. They've actually been playing a little bit better lately. They've won 2 of their last 3 games and covered all 3. It really has to do with their defense. They limited the Bucks to 108, the Pacers to 110. That shows some commitment on the defensive side of the ball. They don't have Simon still, which is obviously an issue on the offensive side of the ball. On the Cavs side, 10-8 on the season, currently on a 2-game winning streak. They've finally started to get a little bit healthier and their defense is starting to come together. I think this is a situation where, they're going to start to get on a run here. They're a lot better than their 10-8 record shows. Injuries, Dean Wade out, Ty Jerome out, Rubio is still out for the Cavs as well. I think the Blazers, I think they're going to struggle here. They struggle to take care of the ball. And they turn the ball over at a high rate. That is not a good sign with the Cavs. Like I said, finally starting to put things together defensively here. The Cavs are 7th in the league in average points in the paint as well from the offensive side of the ball, while the Blazers are 4th worst at limiting opponents in the paint. I think this is just a bad matchup here for the Blazers. I know they've been playing a little bit better defensively, but they were catching teams on bad spots here, and I think the Cavs are trying to pick up some momentum. So I would only look towards the Cavs in this one. I know it's a big line, 11.5, but the Cavs have the offense to do it, and they have the defense to do it as well. So the line is big for a reason, even with the Blazers playing a little bit better. So if I was to bet anything on this one, I would look towards the Cavs way. The Pacers and the Heat, we're seeing the Heat as 2-point favorites at home. 238 total. This is a very high total for a Heat game here. If you look at the Pacers side first, the Pacers 9-7 on the season. They're also 14-2 to the over, and that's the reason why we see this high total. They're coming off an embarrassing loss to the Blazers, so I think they're going to come into this one pretty hungry here. I know they want to get that nasty taste out of their mouth losing to the Blazers here, but the Heat side, they haven't been playing so well at home. They're 10-8 on the season. They are coming into this game on a 3-game losing streak as well. I think travel fatigue is finally starting to hit this team. Prior to today's game, 8 of their previous 10 games were on the road. Roster implications here. Only Jalen Smith is out for the Pacers from what I've seen. McConnell is a game time decision. Heat side, they have a laundry list of players. Tyler Herro and Hampton out. Hightower and Butler are game time decisions. And Duncan Robinson and Bam are also questionable, but it looks like they're leaning towards being able to play. So more probable than questionable. Like I said, the Heat really struggle at home, especially trying to cover the number. They're 1-5 against the spread at home so far this season. They really struggle against faster paced teams and high totals. 2-7 against the spread with totals greater than 218. Like I said, 238 is a very high number for a Heat game. So this kind of goes well for the Pacers here as far as pace of play. Pacers 5-0 to the over on the road. They have been playing a little bit better defensively the last couple games though. I think they limited their last two opponents under their team total. Pacers also do well as dogs, 4-2 straight up, and against the spread as dogs in those games, averaging 127.7 points per game. Both teams struggle to defend the three ball, and both are top five in 3-point percentage. So this could be a situation where we see a lot of 3-point shots being taken. I think this could be a higher scoring game, but especially from a Heat standpoint, but this total seems a little bit too high. Even if either team struggles from three here, this game could possibly fly under the total here. From the side perspective, I think the Pacers' efficiency on the offensive side of the ball kind of gives them the edge here. I would look towards them to possibly win this game outright. And, obviously, like I said, a bounce back off losing to the Blazers there. Pistons and the Knicks here. The Pistons, man, they're struggling right now. 2-16 on the season after the big loss to the Lakers yesterday. They've lost 15 in a row now, so this is why you see the big spread here on the Knicks side, 14.5 for the Knicks as home favorites, 218.5 the total. This team is just struggling on both sides of the ball. On the Knicks side, 10-7 on the season. They're coming off of a big win over the Hornets. We got that one right there. This is also the last of a 4-game homestand, first leg of a back-to-back home to road game. So that situation kind of takes me off the Knicks a little bit. The first leg of back-to-back home to road games, because they do face a more tougher opponent with the Raptors tomorrow in Toronto. So this could potentially be a look ahead spot here. Roster injury notes: Monte Morris is out. Bogdanovich and Joe Harris aren't officially out, but I'm not expecting them to play for the Pistons. No one significant on the Knicks report as of right now. The Knicks tend to dominate against lower tier teams, 8-1 against the spread against teams with losing records, 5-0 against the spread when favored by more than 6 points, winning 4 of those games by 20 or more points. So they get it done by margin when facing these lower tier teams. From the Pistons side, any way you cut the data, it's going to be a fade against the Pistons. There's no way I can look towards backing them at this point, especially with how they've been playing recently and their situation, playing on the second leg of back-to-back games. I think the best way to look at this game, big spread, but I got to look towards the Knicks side to cover, especially with how they've shown to beat these lower tier teams by 20 plus. Or you could take the team total over. I think they do well against teams who are in bottom 10 in defensive rating. That's where the Pistons are. So I would look towards both of those directions in this game here. Hornets and the Nets. Hornets 5-11 on the season on a 2-game losing streak. They failed to cover in their last 3 games as well. This is the last of a 3-game road trip. On the Nets side, 9-8 on the season. They've been covering machines, 13-3 against the spread so far this season. They are on a 3-game winning streak and covered the last 4 games as well. So they're playing pretty well right now. They got some momentum. This is the 4th of a 5-game homestand. They don't have to travel for their next one. Hornets are dealing with a bunch of injuries. LaMelo, and Telekina, Nick Richards, and Cody Martin are all out. Brandon Miller is questionable. He's kind of big, especially with LaMelo already out. He brings a lot of offense to this to this team. They did get Rozier back the last game, so maybe he gets his legs under him by now. On the net side, Ben Simmons continues to be out. Dennis Smith Jr. is questionable. And then earlier today, I got a note that said Cam Thomas looks like he will be playing today, and he's missed some time. So we'll see if there's any rust factor on his side. The Hornets, they tend to struggle against slower paced teams and lower totals in games where the total is less than 230. They are 0-8 straight up, 1-7 against the spread, losing by an average margin of 14 points in those games. And we see the Nets here, 8.5-point favorites at home, total 224. So that kind of fits the mold for that trend there. The Hornets are one of the worst defensive teams in the league, 29th in defensive rating. Only a tenth of a point separates them from the Wizards, who are last place in defensive rating. The Nets, they've covered every single game they've been favored so far this season, 6-0 ATS. winning by an average margin of 12.6 points per game. The Nets also 8-1-1 against the spread at home. So a lot of the numbers are telling me that the Nets should be the side here. Obviously, they get Cam Thomas back. That's going to be a big boost for their offense. I can't back the Hornets without LaMelo either. We saw how that offense went um, in their last game. So I can only look towards the Nets side in this one here. I wouldn't look towards the total only because, their pace without LaMelo, the Hornets' pace without LaMelo is a little bit slower, and their defense gets a little bit better. So not gonna look towards the total. I would say the net side would be where I would go on this one. Hawks and the Spurs here. The Hawks 8-9 on the season, currently 2-game losing streak. They just faced the Celtics. Have a huge look ahead to the Bucks as well. So this is a clear sandwich spot. This is also the fourth of a 5-game road trip as well. So this 7.5 that we're seeing, or I think it's 7.5 right now. Let me see if it's still updated. Yeah, I'm still seeing 7.5. It opened up at 6.5. I maybe this number continues to go up. I think this might be a situation where it could be going the wrong way. I do think that the Spurs catch the Hawks are, kind of not focused in this one. I know the Spurs 13-4 on the season. They've lost 12 in a row. Hard to back a team with those types of records, but this is a one-off home game and the first leg of back-to-back home to road games as well. Another thing that kind of puts you off the Spurs here. They do face the Pelicans in New Orleans tomorrow, but they are coming into this game with extra rest, 3 days of rest. They haven't played since Sunday. And, obviously, like I said, the Hawks coming off of a tough game against the Celtics. Jalen Johnson was playing really well. And now that he's been gone the last 2 games, the last couple of games, they've been struggling on the offensive side of the ball. He's going to be out for quite a bit. I think last time I saw it was probably a month or so. Sohan and Wemby are both questionable. I do expect them to play in this one. Any way you look at it from the Spurs side, it's sort of like the Pistons, right? You're probably a look towards fading them, but I just don't like the Hawks in this situation without Jalen Johnson and their sandwich situation as well. 0-2 straight up and against the spread without him losing both games by double digits. Jalen Johnson, underrated player for this team here, and I probably wouldn't back them until we see them figure it out. As bad as the Spurs are defensively, the Hawks are just as bad too. And I think the Spurs can, like I said, take advantage of an unfocused Hawks team here. I can't back the Hawks as heavy road favorites in this situation. They did cover, 8.5-point road favorites against the Wizards, but the Wizards were on the second leg of back-to-back games while the Hawks were well rested. They had 2 or 3 days of rest on that one. The Spurs, they have the length to give Hawks problems on both sides of the ball too. I think the extra rest will be a big advantage, and the travel fatigue might be an issue for the Hawks as well. And that sandwich spot, you can't overlook the sandwich spot here. So I would look towards the Spurs side in some way. Either I would say wait for the number. I feel like this is a situation where the number could keep going up. Or you could take the team total over as well. I think the Spurs are going to get it done offensively. They're definitely not going to do it on the defensive side of the ball. Bucks and the Bulls here. This one's interesting. Bucks 13-5 on the season. They've won 8 of their last 9, so they're putting things together right here. This is the last of a 2-game road trip. They go home to face the Hawks on Saturday. The Bulls 5-14 on the season. They've lost and failed to cover in 5 straight games. It's their defense that has been struggling. Their last 5 opponents went over their team total. This is the first game home off a 4-game road trip as well. Crowder and Connaughton are out. Caruso, Levine, and DeRozan, from what I see right now, are all questionable. So I wouldn't touch this game until we know the official status of those players. But the Bulls, they've been terrible offensively, which is crazy because they have guys like Vucevic, Levine, and DeRozan. They're 28th in the league in points per game, 26th in offensive rating, 28th in effective field goal percentage. I think the only reason why they aren't, lower in offensive rating is because they don't turn the ball over at a high rate. This team, I feel like, should be way better offensively than they've shown so far this season. I think if they show up, it could be a game like this against a team that is not a great defensive team. The Bucks, like I said, not great defensively. Who, they have the, I think bottom 10 defensive rating if I'm not mistaken, but The Bulls beat and covered against, bad defenses so far. They covered against the Pacers, the Jazz, Pistons. They already covered against the Bucks earlier this season as well. So this might be just a matchup thing for the Bulls. Take advantage of bad defenses because, like I said, their offense is a lot better. Should be a lot better than what the numbers show. The Bucks at home as well, 8-1 straight up, and just 2-7 against the spread. I wouldn't be surprised if the Bulls lose this game, but cover this spread. The number we're seeing right now, 8.5. I feel like this is a situation where the Bulls could lose by 4 or 5 points and cover that spread there. So I would look towards the Bull side in this one. I think the number could maybe potentially keep creeping up, but I definitely wait for the official status of the key guys there, Caruso, Levine, and DeRozan. I would say, if you think that they're gonna play, um, try to catch the number before it falls, because if they're officially in, this number could come back down to like 7.5 or even 7 or so. So it's really up to you on that one, but I would look towards the Bulls way here. Jazz and the Wolves. Jazz 6-12 on the season, coming off a big loss to the Grizzlies yesterday. So this is the second leg of back-to-back road games. It's their offense that has been struggling because they've been dealing with injuries to key players, and they're still going to be without Markkanen. Chris Dunn is questionable today. The Wolves side, 13-4 on the season, coming off a hard-fought win over the Thunder on Tuesday. Their defense really has been the key to their success so far this season. Number one defensive rated team in the league, but they're going to be without Jaden McDaniels again, and then Anthony Edwards is unlikely to play. I think what I saw earlier in reports is he did not show up to shoot around. So this number could potentially move. I, or maybe not. I know it opened up at 9.5. It's at 10.5. Obviously, the Edwards status is not official. Maybe it moves a half point or so, but I get why they're still double-digit favorites, even with the current situation. The Wolves, obviously have done well as home favorites this season, 6-1 straight up, 5-1-1 against the spread. Their defense, like I said, especially at home, they're just allowing 101.7 points per game at home right now. And then on the opposite side, the Jazz were already struggling on the road, 1-8 straight up and 2-7 against the spread on the road. Now they're on the second leg of back-to-back games, missing one of their best offensive players and facing the best defense in the league. This is a tough task for the Jazz here. I know this is the first time the Jazz have been double-digit the Wolves have been double-digit favorites this season, but they've covered all three games where they were favored by 8 or more points, winning those three games by 16 or more. So they can get it done by margin when there is a larger spread. Couple ways that I would look at this. I would look towards the Wolves on the spread here, or the Jazz team total under. Those would be the two ways I would look at that game. I think we only have a couple more games left on the board here. Lakers and the Thunder is the next one. Lakers 11-8 on the season after their 26-point win over the Pistons yesterday. This is the last of a 4-game road trip, and obviously the second leg of back-to-back games here. So maybe we see some type of fatigue here. Thunder 12-6 on the season, 12-4-1 against the spread. They are on a 2-game losing streak though. This is a one-off home game. They do head back out on the road to face the Mavs on Saturday. Vincent and Hachimura are out for the Lakers. Vanderbilt and Jackson Hayes are both questionable. I don't see anything on the Thunder side here. When I first saw this line, I was like, the Thunder are favored by too much in this spot, especially after seeing that they lost 2 in a row. But yeah, I dove deeper into this one. I looked at who they faced, Sixers and the Wolves, tough opponents there. Now you have a Lakers team who just went off offensively yesterday. So there is the expectation of regression and fatigue. And the Lakers have been inconsistent as far as covering the spread. So inconsistent that they've been alternating between covering and not covering for the last 16 games. So cover, not cover, cover, not cover for the last 16 games. That's actually pretty crazy. And if that trend continues, they will fail to cover today. The trend says that they should fail to cover today. Also, the Thunder as heavy favorites this season have been solid favorite when favored by more than 4 points, 4-0 ATS, averaging 124.2 per game and allowing just 98 per game. That's a huge gap. I think some of those wins were by like 30 plus or 40 plus, and then a couple were under 20. But definitely been doing well as favorites so far this season. I can only look towards the Thunder in this game here, especially with the Lakers on the second leg of back-to-back games. I know the number is going down from the 6.5 open to 5.5, but yeah, I can only look towards the Thunder in this one. We'll see if there's any roster issues that pop up towards or as the game comes closer. Um, Last one on the board, the Clippers and the Warriors here. The Warriors are 5 point favorites, home favorites here. Total is 227 and a half. Clippers 8-9 on the season after beating the Kings yesterday, who were on the second leg of back-to-back road games, so they were able to take advantage of the situation. Their offense has been really struggling lately, but they've gone, and that's the reason why they've gone under their team total in 7 of their last 8 games. But it's their defense that's really been able to keep them up with these other teams here. They've kept their opponents under their team total in 7 of the last 8 games as well. Warriors side 8-10 on the season, coming off the 1 point loss to the Kings on Tuesday. I know that was tough for them to see because they give up a big lead. This is the fifth straight game with travel involved as well. They've been alternating home and road games, so there could be some travel fatigue that comes into play here. And then they're going to continue to do alternating home and road games for the next few games as well. These two teams do play each other again on Saturday, so that's something to take note of too. If you want to just skip this game and see what happens, and then play on Saturday, I can't blame you. Uh, Mason Plumlee and Brandon Boston are out for the Clippers. Norman Powell, he's not officially out yet, but based on what I saw yesterday, how he landed or how his leg looked, how it bent side, like I feel like it bent sideways or something like that. I just don't think he's going to be able to play today. The Warriors will be without Gary Payton and Chris Paul. Those are two tough losses there, but that rookie, I forgot his name, Brandon. I don't know how to say his last name, but he's been playing pretty well. So I think he should be a good backup to Steph and the guys there. Both of these teams, man, I feel like they're struggling to hit that 500 mark. Warriors struggling at home this season, which is sort of the opposite of what we saw last season. They're just 3-6 straight up at home, 1-8 against the spread. It's crazy because the one game they covered was when they were at home against the Wolves, and that was a game that Draymond and Clay got ejected and were already without Steph. So that's a crazy situation. They were actually home dogs that game. That's a crazy situation, and also it's crazy that's the only game that they covered at the house. Clippers, they're struggling on the offensive side of the ball, like I mentioned, but been strong, pretty strong defensively, which is why they're 9-1-1 to the under in their last 11 games. Just that combination of not being able to put the ball in the hoop and limiting the opponents. But the Warriors, on the other hand, 3-0 to the over when facing a team on the second leg of back-to-back games. So typically they try to take advantage of the tired legs. For me, I think there's too many counter narratives in this game. I would, if I had to, lean towards a specific way or a specific play, I would think that the Clippers team total under has been pretty consistent. So I would look towards that direction there. That's it. That's 9 games that we just talked about. Again, guys, this, like I said before, this show is really about assisting you guys with actionable info and kind of giving you a, a, a I guess look towards where my head is at on a little bit on each game. And if you want to follow my premium plays, head over to wagertalk.com, or you can see the link on the bottom here that's going to be scrolling wt.buzz/RC. That goes straight to my capper page. I have NBA, college basketball, and a couple hockey plays up already for today. Potentially adding more NBA games depending on injury statuses. And also I have one of those, like I said earlier, 5% NBA plays. We hit the $2 Tuesday play. That was a 5%. That was sweat free. And like I said, I'm hoping that this one is too. 5% spreads. Nobody better than me at the moment at Wager Talk since the beginning of 2022. 73% of these 5% spreads have been winners and I'm hoping to continue that streak. Also, the promos again, utilize that exclusive promo for the show, NBA assist 50, that gets you 50% off an all access pass for 3 or 7 days. And that's a one-time use code, so make sure you utilize it well. I would say use the birthday special, because this one ends on Sunday. The NBA and college basketball combined 7-day pass for $69. Those are the two promos that I have going up right now. And again, like I said, that 5% play is up and available right now. So utilize those promos and get that 5% play for a discounted price. Once again, guys, thanks for everyone, for all those who tuned in and trust my insights. Make sure you share your thoughts and favorite plays of the day in the comment section. Till next time, guys, fade or follow. Good luck. Peace.